Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deepsouth Homestead. Guys, we've been asked by y'all of one question. We're getting a lot of this question asked here at Deepsouth Homestead. And it is, during the sickness that we're involved in right now and the shutdown of the nation and these situation that we're in, we're having to stay home, it's got people to thinking. And on top of that, people are starting to panic. They have a small garden space and they're like, I don't know what to grow to be sustainable. What are some plants, Danny, that I can put in that in my small space that I can get the most out of for my space and that will benefit me health-wise, and I get enough, it makes it where they'll actually can be used for many different things. Yeah. We're not about planting things that you just use for one thing. Here at Deepsouth Homestead, we like to plant things that have multiple uses. Now, we do grow one thing, crops, but for the most of our crops are crops that can be used for lots of things. Now, here we have one right here beside me. This is the old-fashioned multiplying onions. I've had these onions for, I don't even know how many years now. I've had them for so long. These things, I almost lost them this past year because of the drought that we went through, and I just didn't take care of them. I thought they'd be all right. But they still, guys, they pulled through like a champ. And here they are right here. They're fixing to go to seed. Now, we'll probably be saving the seed off of them this year because we want to try to get more of them started. But this crop right here is kind of like what they say about lettuce a lot of time. It's a cut and go kind of crop. When you're fixing a meal, you can actually come out here and you can pull some of these off. You can say like, oh, right here, you're like, okay, I took one of them off. You can go in and take a pair of vegetable scissors and chop this thing up and put it in a meal, and you've got onions. You got a really good onion taste, or you can just eat them raw. Either way, it doesn't matter. The thing about these is these continually multiply, and then when it gets to be where we live at in our area, when it gets to be about July, you can actually take them all up. And they're little hard bulbs underneath the ground. There's a whole clump of them. And you can break that clump up, and you can actually replant it about October, and then the following spring, this right here is what you get. So this is a very sustainable crop to have in a very small space. You can grow them in containers. You can do them like this. Is just a little small area here, maybe 3 foot by 3 foot. It's worked perfect. There's more onions here than Wanda and I was going to use for a lot of things. So this is our first thing, is multiplying onions. Okay guys, we're up here in the front garden now, and I want you to look. We have elephant garlic growing here. Now, it doesn't have to be elephant garlic, but elephant garlic where we live at is very prolific in the heat down here. It could be any of a number of kinds of garlic that you have that grows good where you're at, whether it's soft neck, hard neck garlic, whichever one. The garlic is a lot like the onions. You can leave the bulbs in the ground and they'll just continually grow. This whole row of garlic we have here, we hardly ever dig it up. We just come up here and get what we need, and it continually multiplies in the ground, and the bulbs just get larger. Has lots of medicinal properties to it, plus it adds lots of good flavor to your food, and it is very sustainable. You don't have to worry about it, and it can grow in a small area. You can put it in a container. You can put it around a tree, along the edge of a fence row, anywhere out of the way. It could be in the edge of a raised bed, and it's very sustainable. So garlic is our second choice. Now, along with garlic comes garlic chives. We have them growing here at Deepsouth Homestead. They are almost like a weed. You can't get rid of them once you start them, and they make excellent borders and stuff like that around beds and things. They are very sustainable, very nutritious, and very good for your food. Okay, next, our pick would be potatoes. Now, potatoes are one of those kind of things that is very easy to grow. It takes no skill whatsoever to grow a potato. You just have to realize that it likes acid soil and not sweet soil. It likes the pH to be about 5 to 5.5 rather than any higher, which means it will grow good in most grounds unless you have an alkaline soil where you live at. And guys, potatoes are one of those things that can be used for anything. You can dehydrate them, and you can can them. You can leave them fresh. You can store them. They can be used in soups, salads, French fries. I mean, you name it. You can fix them in so many different ways. That's why here at Deep South Homestead we love them so much, is because they can be used in an array of different ways. They're kind of like when you're using ground meat, when you go to the store to buy ground meat. You know, ground meat can be put in anything. And that's kind of about the way potatoes are. Potatoes are very sustainable. They will last from year to year, especially if you're up north. And they are just delicious. They're loaded with good nutrition. They have a high glycemic index. It depends on how you fix them as to whether or not the glycemic index is higher or lower. But guys, potatoes are fantastic. Now here at Deep South Homestead this year, we have 10 different varieties of potatoes we're trying. We're going to see out of the 10 which one does the best, because going into this grand solar minimum that we're going into, we want only the best producing crops for here at Deep South Homestead that are sustainable. Okay guys, our next pick would be any kind of winter squash or small pumpkins now, or pumpkins in general. Now here we have the spaghetti squash planted here. These things are so sustainable. They're loaded with nutrition. They take the place of spaghetti. If you're like me, have a gluten issue, and you like spaghetti, you can eat the spaghetti squash and get your spaghetti in it. That is one of the things that I love about them so much. They have a very hard rind on the outside of them. If you let them go to full maturity, they last all winter long. They're very sustainable, very nutritious, very beneficial to have on a homestead. You don't have to can them. You can just set them on a shelf as long as they stay dry and cool. You don't have to worry about them. They usually will hold, and they fall into a group with, like, we sell the Cherokee Tan, the Seminole pumpkins, these little small pumpkins about this big around. We have some that actually lasted a full year and actually are still very good to eat, very nutritious. Guys, it's all about raising the right food in a small space. Now the Cherokee Tans and the spaghetti squash, any of your winter squash, anything like that, is going to vine and run everywhere. But if you have fence rows or something other like that, that's perfect, because they'll run down those fence rows and hang on the fences and stuff like that. They do really, really good. The Cherokee Tan specifically is very disease resistant, very insect resistant. It's just a good small pumpkin to have. The spaghetti squash here is very good to have because it's disease resistant also to a lot of different pests and stuff. So guys, I recommend any of your winter squash or small pumpkins or large pumpkins do real well for being sustainable. Okay, we're over here at our cold frame now, and guys, look at the sweet potatoes here. This is the way you grow sweet potato slips, in the dirt. Now, these are a very nutritious, low maintenance, actually require low fertilization, really, because they'll grow in just about any soil. As long as it's not hard and packy, they'll do fantastic. Now, they do really good in our climate down here where it's warm at. They don't do so well up north where it's really cold at, but down here, they do good. Now, you can plant them in containers, and they do fantastic. I've grown them in containers. I've grown them in the fields. I've grown them in an array of different ways. Now, okay, guys, these grow really good in the ground like this, and ours are very healthy looking. Now, these potatoes are planted about 6 inches deep in the dirt. Some of them 4. It just depends on how they ended up being, but usually 4 to 6 inches deep. That way you have a chance for them to get some roots started on the bottom of them. It's been kind of dry here, so I don't anticipate a large amount of roots on the bottom of these, but there probably is some pretty good roots started on them. Okay, we're going to look in here. We're going to see if we can find us one that's got some roots on it now. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. This one, I hate to pull on them too hard, but we'll just go ahead and pull it real easy. Maybe it won't break too many of the roots off. There we go. Now you have them, they'll look like this right here. Now what I'll do is come in here and I'll take off some of these leaves like that. and then I'll go stick this thing in the ground. You see the root system on it? I'll go stick it in the ground up to right about this point right here, because that's all you really need out of the ground is the top of it right here. And we'll water it in real good. And guys, this thing will take off and Cadillac from that point on. Now, if you have sweet potatoes that are already sprouting and already have the slips on them, and they just, because the potatoes are older, you can actually clip that off and go put it in a glass of water, and it'll actually make roots, and then you can plant it, and it'll still grow potatoes just like this one here will. Okay, on the sweet potatoes are just like the regular Irish potatoes we call them. You can get them in red. You can get them in blue. You can get them in white. I mean, they're all different ones. We've got the white ones growing right here. We've got the red ones growing right here. So, guys, I also have a sweet potato manual. You can go check it out over on deepsouthhomestead.etsy.com. I have a manual that tells you everything about planting sweet potatoes. It's got all color pictures and actually has recipes in the back if you want to try them out. So go check that out. We also have a whole playlist of videos that you can go watch of us planting them, us harvesting them, us taking care of them, plowing them, doing everything that we do with them. And go check out the playlist of sweet potato videos. Check out the sweet potato manual. And guys, this is one of our other picks for a sustainable food on the homestead. All right, guys, our last pick for the being sustainable on the homestead. If you live in the South, Zone 7 or below, sugarcane. It is one of the best sugar substitutes you can get. You can make your own syrup. You can make your own sugar. You can make all these things out of it. If you live Zone 7 and above to about Zone 6, I think it is, you can use sorghum. And it does just the same thing as sugarcane does. And if you live above those zones, then you can grow sugar beets, and you can make your sugar and your sweeteners from sugar beets. But guys, a sweetener on the homestead is one of the alternative things that you've got to have, that you need to be able to sweeten things with. Here, we have an entire playlist on sugarcane, on squeezing it, on making syrup out of it, and guys, how to plant it, how to grow it, how to reproduce it, everything to do with sugarcane. We have a video playlist on that. But sugarcane to us here in the Deep South is just invaluable because we need it for our sweetener. If something happens and you can't get sugar, you need a way to be able to sweeten things on your homestead. And like I said, remember the zones. Zone 7 and below, you can do the sugarcane. Zone 7 and above to about 6, the sorghum. Anything above that, you can do the sugar beets. And it works out fantastic, guys. So remember, you need a sweetener on your homestead. Okay, guys, these are some of the things on the homestead that we believe here at Deep South Homestead are sustainable. They're very nutritious, and they can be used in an array of different ways to keep you healthy and strong. So thank you, guys, from Deep South Homestead.